What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Vick Almighty, and today I'm gonna be restoring a shoe that I haven't restored in a really long time. Back in 2013, when I started working on sneakers, the Raging Bull Jordan 5 was one of those shoes that everybody needed work on. The red suede was always faded, yellowing on the soles, or paint chipping. When I got those three things unlocked, I posted my work on Instagram, and I instantly got so many requests to work on this shoe. During that era, I probably worked on 40 to 50 pairs. However, this is one of those shoes that cleans up nicely every single time. Today, I'm gonna show you guys the best and proper way to restore your Raging Bulls. Let's get to work. First things first, I'm gonna put this shoe to the side and focus only on the right. I'm gonna take out the laces and insole so we can go next door, dry brush, and compress the sneaker. Now, the last time I restored a shoe, the 5 Red 4s, they were completely disgusting, they were used, so I had to put on some masks and gloves. I think this time, I'm gonna do the same. Just like with everything else, it's all about the prep work. Make sure you take your time doing this step. It makes a big difference before you start cleaning the shoe with water and solution. Go back and forth, don't miss a single spot. I understand not everybody has a compressor at home. You can get away with doing this step just by dry brushing, but using a compressor can make things a lot easier and get better results. Something that you can do though is go to your nearest car wash. Nowadays, they offer a free vacuum and air compressor. You can just go there with your shoes, use the compressor, and go back home. It's that easy. The compressor is one step, but dry brushing also helps the sneaker. By going around the entire sneaker, it helps loosen up the dirt trapped in the suede. All right, so for this cleaning, I'm gonna be using Rejuvenator Signature Kit. This shoe needs to go in the washing machine. If you guys are working on a pair and isn't as beat as this shoe, I don't recommend putting it in the washing machine. The suede is gonna bleed like crazy. It'll bleed during the washing machine and during the pre-treatment. In this specific case, I'm not gonna be careful. In other situations, if it wasn't as dirty, I would be very gentle with the cleaning process. However, in this case, the shoe is beat inside and out, it's covered in stains. I am gonna re-dye the shoe later in this video. So I'm trying to pull out all the stains and dirt. In that process, I'm also gonna pull out the dye, but you kind of want that for a re-dye. You get better results that way. Now, first things first, I'm gonna put the shoe tree inside. This is gonna help with a couple different things. For one, it's gonna eliminate the creasing from the toe box, reshape the overall sneaker, and it's gonna allow me to apply pressure on the toe box during the cleaning. Also, you wanna make sure you keep the shoe tree inside the shoe throughout the entire cleaning process, washing machine, and drying process. It's gonna help reshape the sneaker. Next, squirt 2 squirts of a Rejuvenator solution inside our bowl of water. The first brush I'm gonna be using is our soft bristle brush. This is the first brush I always use for any cleaning. This is gonna help break down the grime and dust on the uppers. All right, guys, all done with the soft bristle brush. Honestly, this is crazy. I've oversaturated the sneaker. I scrubbed this shoe a good, 40 times. Barely any bleeding. The 2007 release or 2006, I forget what year it came out, but those bleed like crazy. As soon as you put water and solution on them, it gets pink everywhere. These, you barely see any pink. It's very subtly there with the white suds, but for the most part, these shoes do not bleed. I'm gonna put this brush to the side, move on to the medium bristle. With this brush, I'm gonna clean up the midsole. I am gonna go back over the suede one more time with this brush. I still see some stains. I'm trying to get this shoe as clean and faded as possible before the re-dye. All right, did all the scrubbing I could on the uppers. While I got this brush, let's take care of the insole. Good to go with the medium bristle brush. The last thing I gotta clean up is the soles. Usually I use a stiff bristle brush. In this case, I'm going straight to the brass bristle. The soles on these are extremely cooked. I'm trying to get these as clean as possible before I put them in the indoor setup. All right, you can actually see the sole now. It's pretty yellow. Underneath all that grime, I couldn't see it before, but I can see it now. There's some gum in this area, a little bit right here. I'm gonna grab some Goo Gone, spray some on there, let it sit for a second so I can scrape it off. You just gotta watch out for the Goo Gone. You don't wanna let it drip onto the suede. Good to go. Gum is fully off, sole is fully cleaned. Before we put the shoe in the washing machine, I'm gonna go ahead and clean up the lace and the lace lock with our leftover water and solution. All right, pre-treatment is good to go. Grab a laundry bag so we can put the shoe, insole, and the shoelace inside to the washer. As always, you guys, when washing a shoe in the washing machine, cold water with the regular setting is all you need. A Rejuvenator detergent pod. All you need is one. All right, so I got the shoe out of the washing machine. I let it air dry overnight. Overall, the sneaker looks really good. Starting with the soles, they're yellow, but they're back to being fully cleaned. The inside looks really good, smells great. the overall shape of the sneaker is looking a lot better. Now, I'm really impressed with the red suede of this release. Overall, the color is still there. I scrubbed for a good 15 minutes straight, oversaturated the suede, put the sneaker in the washing machine, and the red is still there. Once I reset the nap on the suede, it's gonna be a bit more faded, but once again, I'm impressed with the suede. It's looking good. Now that I have a clean base to work with, this next step is pretty lengthy. It's gonna take a few days to hopefully get it back to icy, but I need to remove the yellowing from the soles using my Vick 2000, aka the indoor setup with 4,500 watts of UV rays. I'm gonna be using some Rejuvenated Soravive. I'm gonna apply a thin coat onto the soles, put a piece of plastic wrap over the sneaker, put it in the Vick 2000. Hopefully tomorrow we start seeing some progress. These soles are not gonna get back to icy in one day. It's gonna take a good 5 to 7 days. After that mark, if they still don't get icy, the shoe is tapped out. That's something to keep in mind. When it comes to soles, it's all different. If the soles are heavily worn and they're super yellow and you're trying to ice them up, there's a really good chance it's never gonna get to that clear icy state. Now, if the shoe is brand new, but there is yellowing on the sneaker, if you put some Soravive and put the shoe in the indoor setup, after just one day, it'll be back to brand new. So keep all that stuff in mind. I'm gonna apply some Soravive onto the soles, a thin coat, put them in the Vick 2000. One more thing to note, when you put the shoe in the indoor setup, make sure you have it facing completely up. Don't put it on its toe at an angle. Sometimes if it gets too hot or if you put way too much sauce, it can drip slowly onto that toe box suede and completely eat through it. There is no way to fix that. I've seen it happen to way too many pairs online. Be careful. All right, after 6 days, these are the results. Big before and after, you guys. These look way better than what we started with. Not perfect, but a lot better. A lot of the yellowing did come out. There's still some there. When these were brand new, these were icy clear. There is a slight yellow tint to it, but at this point, if I leave them there any longer, I'm not gonna get any better results. Now, one thing I do wanna point out about the soles is, in certain areas, the soles are looking kind of white. Those are chemical burns from the Soravive. It tends to occur when the Soravive sits for X amount of hours or days. There's a simple solution to it. Just grab a brush, water and solution, scrub all the Soravive off, let it sit for a few hours, then it'll go back to normal. At the end, I'll show you guys the before and after of these soles. Now at the moment, we still have a lot of work to go on the uppers and the midsoles. I'm gonna start with the midsoles though first. I'm gonna grab some 600 grit sandpaper and prep it. There isn't really any cracking, it's just all scuffed up. I'm gonna go ahead and finish sanding it down, removing all the factory finish so I can touch up all 3 colors. Prep is good to go on the midsole. The paint job will happen at the end of this restoration. I'm gonna first focus on the uppers. After that deep clean and putting them in the washing machine, the suede is pretty rough in certain areas. I'm gonna be using a medium bristle brush to reset the nap on the entire suede. I don't need the brass bristle for this one. Just by feeling it out, in some areas it already feels kind of soft. Brass bristle would be overkill. Medium bristle will do the job just fine. Suede is back to being soft. The thing is, the shoe's looking a lot more faded. This is one of those things where a redye is the only way to bring it back to life. Mink oil would bring back some of the color, but at this point, too much of the color's been pulled out. The only way to bring it back to life is by applying more color. So the way I'm gonna redye it is using the airbrush, but first, I have to do a lot of taping. I'm gonna tape off everything but the red suede. The one trick I could tell you guys is, take your time doing the step. Don't leave anything exposed that's on the red suede. It'll make a big difference at the end. This is a really boring step, so I'm not gonna bore you guys through it. However, if you guys wanna see an in-depth video for this process, let me know. All right, so everything's taped up, sock liner, plastic hardware, all the netting, and the sole. It's important to make sure to cover up the netting and the sole, because sometimes when you get dye in those areas, it automatically stains it and you're not gonna get it off. Now for this process, I am gonna be using the airbrush method, using some Jacquard Red Dyna-Flow. This stuff works great, it's nice and vibrant, it'll keep the suede buttery soft. As you're applying it, after a couple of coats, what you wanna do is grab an old brush and brush it into the suede. That's how you're gonna get the best results. After about 3 to 4, you should get the job done. The thing is, I don't recommend destroying your Rejuvenated brushes. I'm just doing so because this is an old one. Once I'm done, I'm gonna toss it. In your case, if you guys just have one brush, I would look for something else or go to the sink right after with some dish soap and wash it all off. Now that's how the upper is supposed to look, bright and vibrant. Suede is still buttery soft. Now anytime you redye a sneaker, you have to lock it in order for it to not bleed or fade using some Rejuvenator water and stain repellent. I'm gonna go ahead and lay down a nice thick coat all around, let it dry before I move on to the next step. Red suede looks good. I can't wait to show you guys a comparison at the end. Moving on with this restoration, onto the midsole. Gotta lay down 3 colors, white, red, and black. The black color is by far the easiest. That'll go at the end. I'm gonna start off with the lightest color first, which is the white. I'm gonna lay down the white, then move on to the red with some fire red color. Move on to the black, and that should be it. For this one, I don't think I'll be using tape. I'm just gonna freehand it and be very careful. To get a clean paint job all around, you wanna do light coats. Use the heat gun in between coats as well. Don't be sloppy with it. Once you get the paint on the suede, it's not gonna come off. All right guys, red, black, and white is good to go. I'm gonna go ahead and lace them up so we can wrap up this project. All right guys, that's gonna bring us to an end on this full restoration on these 2021 Raging Bull 5s. This is what I call a before and after. The best thing about it is, it did not take that much work to get it to this point. Besides the indoor setup, this was about 1 or 2 days worth of work compared to my other projects. Got the insides all cleaned up, outsides, try to remove all the grime and dye as possible to get it ready for the redye. I even gave the soles a good deep clean to get it ready for the Vick 2000. Afterwards, I put some Rejuvenator Soda Revive, put them in the Vick 2000, and got these crazy results. That after looks crazy good. All in all, that process took about 6 days. That was the most time-consuming part of this whole restoration. The rest of it was pretty easy. It was all in the prep work. I taped up the entire sneaker to get the upper ready for a redye. That redye is really what brought the red richness back to life. Originally, they kind of looked like burgundies, super flat, super muted. There was no red at all. On the after, it's back to brand new. Lastly was a midsole repaint. A Jordan 5 could be a little tricky, but at the same time, it could be a little easier compared to a Jordan 3 and 4. If you guys saw how I did it, I did not have to do any taping. Just trust yourself, freehand it, take your time, and you'll get the same results just like I did. A couple more things to note in this restoration, specifically on the after. The shoe tree made a big difference. On the before, creases crushed. On the after, back to its original shape. The netting on the tongues and the side panels also got a lot icier when they were in the Vick 2000. I did have to replace the shoelace. Originally, they were all chewed up. I could have gone in and fixed it, but to be honest, this shoelace is completely beat. I have a boneyard full of laces, so I replaced it with an authentic red Jordan lace that matches the original perfectly. For this restoration, the 2 biggest things that made a huge difference was the deep clean and removing the yellowing from the soles using our Soda Revive and our Rejuvenator signature kit that you can find at rejuvenator.com. To save 20% on your next order, use promo code RagingBull. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and learned something. This is Vick Almighty. I'll catch you guys next Monday. See you guys.